Hey guys, it's Tori from Rock Forever Magazine, and I've got Robby from Goo Goo Dolls on the line right now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazingly well. I'm in Los Angeles today. It's 80 degrees, blue skies, very nice.
All right, sounds exciting. Now, first things first, I want to talk about your album Magnetic, which is out now. And I was reading some other interviews with you guys, and I know you mentioned that the creative process for this album was quite different compared to some previous releases. So, what exactly did you guys do differently this time around, and how did those changes affect the final outcome?
Well, in the past, we've been making records, in one capacity or another for almost 3 decades now, and generally what we would do is write a bunch of demos and rehearse a bunch in our practice space, and then get songs about 80% of the way there to being finished, and find a producer, and then go in the studio and start recording. And we often found ourselves underneath the pile of 14, 80% finished songs, and that was pretty stressful, because now all of a sudden you gotta make all these decisions as to what's going to make these songs best, all at the same time. And this time we did it a little differently, and we would work on a song. John would work on a demo. I'd work on a demo. We'd get it far enough to where we thought it was time, to bring the band in and start playing on the song, and we would do that and finish it, and then we move on to the next one. So I think the process was a lot less stressful this time, and I think the record kind of sounds a lot less stressed out.
Yeah, I mean, even though your process from before did seem a bit stressful, it proved successful. So did you guys have any worries going into it and doing things differently after having so many hits with your previous process?
I think after being together for this long, you sort of welcome, a little bit of variety to the process, a little bit of some other ideas, and so we often got that, with the producer, when we brought the producer in, and the engineers who were in the room, and all that sort of thing. But using numerous producers on this record and recording it in numerous places over many different times, I think it, as I said, I think it added some diversity and just sort of a feel of a little bit more of a feel of ease to this record, and I think the world in general uses a little of that right now.
Yeah, I guess after a certain number of records, it can seem a bit tedious, so it could be good to switch it up. And one song off of Magnetic that stood out to me was "Keep the Car Running." What's the story behind that song?
That was a song we did with a guy named John Shanks, it's one of the sort of more rock songs on the record, I guess, But it's one of my favorites for sure. We haven't been playing that live very much, but I might bring that up tonight at practice, actually.
All right. Do you think we could hear that one maybe on the upcoming tour with Daughtry and
I
Playing
hope.
by Tees?
I hope.
Fingers crossed then. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, there you go.
And, if you compare Magnetic to some of your earliest releases, there's an undeniable difference in the musical style. You guys have evolved over the years, which is normal for an artist. But were you ever influenced by any current music trends while you were working on this album, or where did you find inspiration?
I guess as far as musical trends go, I don't know if that's necessarily what we were sort of going after. I think more it's just sort of, you see the technology that's out there right now. You see the record making processes that are out there right now, and quite often the technology sort of dictates, to a degree, where your music goes, because you're creating within a different forum, So, I think we try to stay up to date with that type of stuff a bit. And, obviously, once again, as I said, when we bring producers in, they may have their eyes fixed a bit more, on current trends and such, than we would. But I think, as I said, bringing all those ideas together, are what, make for an exciting album.
Yeah. I mean, being a band for so long and seeing how music is changing so much, do you ever feel pressure to find ways to maintain, relevance, or do you just do what you do best and, hope it's going to go well?
Well, I think you could drive yourself crazy with that. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Staying, the concept of staying relevant, is a pretty amazing thing, and that would be something that any band would desire, obviously, but I think if you dive headlong into that, as your main goal, I think that you'll probably find yourself obsolete pretty quickly.
True. And I think a lot of bands out there, especially new bands, strive to have the same success that you guys have had. I mean, you've achieved a lot of different milestones, including Grammy nominations, over 10 million albums sold. The list goes on and on. So now that you've experienced all of these ups and downs of being in a rock band, what brings you the most fulfillment?
It's that hour that I actually get to do what I got involved in this whole thing for. It's that, or 90 minutes or whatever it is. It's funny. I often say, like, we get paid, to fly in, to fly around and to drive from city to city and check in and out of hotels and eat in crappy restaurants and et cetera, et cetera. The show's free. I'll play for free. It's everything else that surrounds that, which is becomes tedious. But I mean, we've been lucky, man. I wake up every morning and I can't believe it's happened, and twofold, I can't believe we still get the opportunity this many years later to still make a bit of an impact and be out there doing what we love to do.
Yeah, as a band, it's been quite a whirlwind for you guys. So is it kind of a blur when you look back on everything that's happened over the past few years?
Yeah, for various reasons, actually. In different eras of my life. But, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're kicking ass and you're doing really great, then you're too busy to really look back too much because you're spending all your efforts looking forward, to the next thing you're doing. So I guess we're fortunate in a way, to always have that next thing, to grab onto and to try to make great. And, I think that stops you from sort of resting back on your laurels and, saying, hey, man, don't you guys remember, we were that band that had, all those number one songs years ago. It's like, you don't want to be that because, then, you enter that place, where, your best hope is to come back, to satisfy someone's, nostalgic cravings, and that's really not what we're looking to do. So.
Yeah, you get a number one song and then just focus on the next one, right?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, speaking of that, you've had 14 top 10 radio hits, which is mind-blowing, including Iris, which some people would consider to be the song that launched your career. What characteristics do you think a song must have in order for it to be a hit?
Well, it's got to get played on the radio a lot.
That's a good point.
I guess. I mean, there's a huge difference between, a hit record and a great song. A hit record, there's a lot of luck involved. A lot of it's fate, a lot of it's, timing, a lot of it's, just things that are unbelievably beyond your control. But I think, I think we've been, lucky. Obviously, John, people tend to connect, with what he's doing quite often, and in a big way, and in a way that works on radio. So we've been pretty lucky, to be in varying degrees, of course, but we've been pretty lucky to be, pretty constantly on the radio, since the mid-90s.
And since the band started, a lot has changed within the music business. I mean, things operate very differently. For example, people are going to iTunes, Pandora, or Spotify instead of going to a record store. So how do you feel about these recent changes, and how have they affected your band personally?
Well, it's destroyed. It destroyed the music industry as we knew it. But that's what happens. Things don't remain the same. So, it's all about finding that place for you to exist and that music that does exist. And we're pretty lucky because I think we came in sliding under a door that was closing. In the 90s, and got to do some things that are a little bit harder for bands to do now. That have allowed us to move forward and actually like have a career. As opposed to just a couple of records, a couple of big singles.
Yeah, and so now that people are they're getting their music in different ways, how do you think bands just survive? Now that there are different ways to listen to music.
Obviously, your live shows are one part of it. I think a lot of folks are finding that, you need a couple of, you can be in a band to do something else. Obviously there's an awful lot. There's way more bands out there that don't have hit songs than there are, that do. And, I think those are the bands we're talking about. How do those people survive, And, I think a lot of people are finding, you got to multitask these days. You got to be able to do a few things. You got to be able to, be well versed in computers and be able to operate in that world, and that'll give you some opportunities. And you can also use those opportunities, in your music and to forward your band. And so I think you got to just be a little bit more full. You have to have a little bit more knowledge in many areas these days, I think, to make it work. But the resources are out there these days, to make your music, to distribute your music, to promote your music, all on your own. And I think that some people are getting really great at that, and proven that that's a very, very valid model.
Yeah, so those are definitely some points for newer bands to consider thinking about. And when you guys first started, when you were a new band, you were touring in a van, playing punk rock clubs, and clearly you've come a long way since then. So if you could go back in time to when you first started, what would you say to your younger self?
Oh, my goodness. Take it easy. There's still going to be beer left the next day. You don't have to drink it all in one night. That's what I would have told my young self, I think. I wanted to drink it all, just in case there wasn't any left the next day, I guess, on the planet.
Living the rock star life, that's for sure. Good advice. Good advice there. And as I mentioned before, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we toured before there were cell phones, right? So it was all about like having like a pocket full of dimes. So I think I would tell myself, make sure you got a lot of dimes, because quite often you're going to need to make a phone call. And
true.
Back then, if you didn't have dimes, you were out of luck.
True. And as I mentioned before, you guys are going on tour with Daughtry and Plain White T's this summer. So we have a fan question from Chris asking, what 3 things you can't survive without on your tour bus?
Personally, let's see. My tea set. I got a little tea set so I can make tea for myself. That's a big one. Obviously my laptop, because I can't think without that. And oh goodness, what else, man? Headphones. So I can listen to what I want to listen to and not have to listen to what other people are listening to.
Yeah, those are definitely necessities.
Yeah.
And, the band has been involved with some different charities over the years. Are there any charities you've been working with recently that you'd like to spread the word about, or any projects that you're going to be working on the summer tour?
We really haven't hooked anything up with the summer tour yet, actually, but we're actually working on that at the moment right now. So we'll definitely be bringing something out with us for sure.
Okay, sounds good. And a lot of fan questions came in about that acoustic tour. It seemed to be a fan favorite for sure. And people are wondering if there are going to be plans for you guys to do that again in the future.
We were starting to talk more and more about it. Actually, it looks like. I mean, we did that. That tour was done in very small rooms, like 400-seat rooms, and we had, a 10-piece band at points. Strings and singers and percussionists and mandolin players, and so I think to do it the same way would be very difficult. But I think doing it in some bigger venues and so we could make the business end of it work a little bit better. I think that would be a really exciting thing to bring back out again. We went out doing all those small venues because we were recording all those shows, and we're actually going to release some sort of something coming up down the road. But that was a really, really great experience, and I would definitely love to do it again.
Yeah, I heard a few fans asking about a movie. Is that what's going to be coming soon?
Could be. I'm not really sure what we're going to do with it yet. Quite honestly, we're we've got all the footage now, and we recorded all the shows, so we're going to put something together, and we'll see what opportunities present themselves.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm sure fans are very excited to hear that another acoustic tour is in the works. Maybe you're thinking about it, so that's good.
Could be. It's a definite maybe. We're definitely thinking about it.
Good. Well, those are all the questions I have for you, so thank you so much for taking the time to talk today. And everybody listening in, make sure you pick up Magnetic on iTunes. Thank you so much.
Do that. All right.